Hey everybody, September 29th, 2020, and I am on location coming to you from the Cambria downtown White Plains Hotel. I'm here for a great meeting with Westchester County, the New York State Hospitality Association. Let's get this show going. Hey everybody, and welcome to No Vacancy Live with me, your host, Glenn Hausman. You're going to say to yourselves, hey guys, where is Anthony again 2 days in a row? Well, I think he got stuck at a poker table in Las Vegas. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but send your best wishes to the Aria Casino Resort, I think is where he's at. Tomorrow, we got a great show. We're going to be focused on Las Vegas. That's why Anthony is there right now. We're going to have the president and CEO of Mandalay Bay and Luxor on the show. We're going to have John Flynn back. You remember John Flynn, our friend who was leading MGM Resorts all through the reopening process, and a couple of more prizes in store for you. Big surprise, I'll be at my home studio. I don't get to go to Vegas this time. I'm jealous of Anthony Melchiori. What are you going to do? But everyone else, you all should be jealous of me because I am here in Westchester County today, and we have got a couple of great guests because we're going to get tourism back going in my home state of New York. So let's welcome into the show Ms. Natasha Caputo, Director of Tourism with Westchester County Tourism, Film, and Mr. Sean Meade. He's also the president of the Westchester Hotel Association. Oh, there he is. Thanks, Dave. And the GM of the Cambria Hotel from which I speak. Now, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Glenn.
Yeah, man. So excited to see you. All right. So you're probably everyone saying to themselves, hey, what's with the mask? Well, we're doing the physical distance thing. I'm in the lobby, separated from the people. Natasha's in the boardroom. Sean's in his office. But I got to tell you guys, I am super stoked to be here, not just because I have you guys as guests, but this is going to be my first in-person speaking engagement for your wonderful organization since February. I am so excited.
That's excellent. We are so thrilled to have you here. First since February. What the time span we can never even have imagined. But we have created and produced a 50 people business meeting here at the Cambria Suites in White Plains, featuring
downtown White Plains, just in case anyone wants to check it out.
Yep. And I know Sean will join in. But if I can just share with you, Glenn, I mean, it took a lot of planning for this type of meeting. We want to make sure we have the safety of all of our participants, our speakers in place, and all the protocols are measured. And it was tough when you're doing an event that is popular. This is an annual event that we have here in partnership with the Westchester Hotel Association this year with NISHDA and that great organization.
That's to make sure Tourism Association.
Yes, to make sure that those RSVPs and confirmations and the badges were up and running. But we're in good shape. So, and we're going to tape it, Glenn, so you're able to share your presentation with your viewers as well.
That is fantastic. Well, I feel like I've been sharing my presentation with his viewers for the last 6 months. So we've been doing this show live every day at 12 p.m. Eastern time, because that's really what we're going to be talking about today. All of the things I've learned in the last 6 months, what's happened in the industry, where are we now, where are we headed, all of these things. Because as our viewers know, we get the top guests every single day that are sharing their stories here. Sean, how does it feel to have an event with the 50 maximum people taking place in your hotel after all this time?
It feels great, Glenn. And thank you for being here today. When we first started talking about this meeting back in July, Mark Dorr with New York State Hospitality Association, Natasha Caputo, and I were on the call. And I asked the question, we're going to do this event in person, right? And there was just silent. And again, we were in July. And it stayed silent. And I said, well, we have outdoor space here at the Cambria. We're allowed to have up to 50 people at a time. Let's move ahead with planning the event in person. We want to be able to show our customers and our partners that as hoteliers, we're willing to meet in person. We're going to do it in a safe and healthy manner. And we wanted to set an example and show everybody how to put on an event for up to 50 people and keeping everybody safe and healthy.
Yeah, I love that, Natasha. He's talking about setting an example. And I think that's what we want to do. I went out to Phoenix last week to do some work with Best Western. I'm doing some hosting stuff for their virtual conference. I've been up to Mohegan Sun. I've been down to Borgata. I did an event with my partner Anthony at the top of the courtyard downtown Manhattan. I feel it's incumbent upon all of us to get out there and travel to show people it can be done. It can be done safely, and it can help bring back our economy. How do you see it?
Absolutely. And I think working with the destination marketing organizations such as Westchester Tourism and hand in hand in the planning and setting up, and that's what we're here for. We are open and able with all of our various properties throughout Westchester County. We're a meeting destination as well as leisure. I also want to add that on the safety, it has been really important. And this is, we are introducing our Westchester with Care, which is a pledge that we are going out to our business partners, our tourism partners. It's inclusive. And the website's visitwestchesterny.com/Westchester with Care, where we are following the protocols and aware, and the resources are there if there are any new updates and how to handle and welcome our guests into Westchester County here in the Hudson Valley region.
That's great. I will say, back to this meeting that we're doing today, 50-person max. A month ago, we would have thought we're never going to get 50 people to come out for an event. You told me something really exciting.
Yes, we had a wait list, and we still have a wait list. And I think that's just a good indication of how this industry is resilient and knows how to come forth and really, start doing what we do. It's been very hard hit for travel and tourism. It's going to be a slow and steady road, but I have no doubt that the industry here in New York is ready to take that and challenge and really work with all our partners.
Right. So what do you guys expect to experience today? Because it's not just about informing people. Sean, I feel like it's going to be part of our therapy, right? Like a group therapy session to get us all back and feeling really positive about the steps that we can take and the actions and insight that we can gain from this in order to have a healthier business going forward.
Sure. So this is our annual meeting for the Westchester Hotel Association. And, we have a Smith travel forecast that will be here as well too, remotely. They go over the forecast for next year, which we're not really looking forward to. And they review the year past that we just had here. So this is hopefully going to be a shell for other hotels to use. And people want to get together. There are a lot of people working from home. But as this extends, people do want to get together. They want to be with each other. They want to be in the presence of each other. And so today's a really big day for us. We're going to do this safely. We're going to follow all the guidelines, and we're going to have a little bit of fun too.
Yeah, that's really important in order for to have fun. Just kick back, try to enjoy ourselves, and be able to create some actionable insights that everybody can take home with them. So, Natasha, what was it like planning the event? I know we were joking around before how actually really had to take out a measuring tape to make sure that each of those 50 seats out there are 6 feet apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just do it. At first, when you walk into the room, it was for me the first meeting that we're having. It was just unusual and planning and measuring everything out. We also have food that is going to be individually 4x4 appetizer plates individually wrapped, and that will be able to accommodate all of our guests. We have hand sanitizer, we have wipes against, everyone's going to be in lavaliers. We've talked about the Q&A. You can't pass the mic or have a mic there ready. So we're prepared to do that. So it took a little bit, but it's not, you can do it. It's not something that can't be done for sure.
That's fascinating. So it's one of those things you think of everything, but you get into it and you realize that there's a lot to learn. Sean, how does this make you feel about you being able to now go forward and book events? I guess the question is, not only could you do it, but what is this community thinking about in terms of getting out there and doing events with you?
Sure. So we have been doing events, right? We've been doing on a smaller scale.
Right. There was one here. A group was just leaving today at 11. I saw they've been here for a couple of days, right?
Yep. We have a group of supermodels that come to the hotel. Their facility in northern Westchester wasn't able to be physical distance. So Coco Rocha and her supermodeling camp come here every other week. again, following the physical guidelines that are set forth for us. And they've been able to take their training camp that is normally takes place in Northern Westchester and bring it to our hotel, which is just a huge boost. So all of our hotels need revenue at a time like this. So they fly from all over the country to come here and meet for a 4-day camp. We service food through a third-party provider. And like I said, we're really proud to be here today. We've put a lot of work into this event. It's amazing. Events for 50 people on the new norm here now is, takes about the same amount of work that it used to take to do events for 200 people. So,
Natasha, you literally said that about 45 minutes ago.
I did. I was meeting Glenn and setting up. Yes, absolutely. You got to make sure everyone has a badge into the room, that, every seat's going to be taken, and that's safety. And that's really important. But, here in Westchester County, at all of our properties, and even as a destination, we have these attributes. We have our wide open spaces outside as well. Everyone from our attractions to our restaurants are open and are here to welcome. I think that for travelers from New York City and other regions, we are a good getaway destination for leisure.
And I think that really brings us into the next portion of the conversation. But before we do that, I do want to say, Sean, I love this hotel. You're doing a great job over here. And he's a consummate general manager. When I pulled in, he was in shorts and a t-shirt because he was set up. And I love that because it's really symbolic of what's happening at all hotels around the country right now. You're being asked to do more. You're being asked to do all sorts of things that you probably haven't done in a number of years. But I see you doing it with joy because you want this to be a successful event. In fact, you said you've been living here since March as well. And I should say that this hotel is operated by Maya Jabara, a company that I've known for a really long time and really respect.
Yeah, we're the fortunate ones, Glenn. We got to stay open, right? And every event we do, every room night that we get at the hotel, that's closer to bringing one more of our team members back, right? So we have over 40 hotels that are part of the Westchester Hotel Association, and we have all been fierce competitors with each other. Times have changed, right? We've learned to work together to keep everybody safe, to share PPP, to share the things that are going to help us succeed as a market, right? It's no longer a hotel by hotel. This is a market game plan where we all need to be on the same page, doing whatever it takes to keep not only our guests safe, but to keep us safe too, right? To keep the people that work in our hotel safe, so that when they go home to their families, they can feel confident that everybody's staying safe and healthy.
Yeah, right. Natasha, what are you seeing from, the hotels in your area that you're dealing with? And again, let me remind you that Sean is president of the Westchester Hotel Association, so he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and absolutely. And working with Sean and all the members of the Hotel Association is important. It is a market game plan. We are now, we have boots on the ground filming over all of our hotel properties and about another 150 attractions for virtual tours so that we can go up and have tools ready that can promote and invite and welcome our guests here. So it's really paving and working into what the new norm is, or working within the parameters that we have to work with that are safe, but also in positive to move forward. And there's good things happening here. Every crisis, there's an opportunity. We have the Ritz-Carlton, a neighbor to Cambria Suites here, has suspended operations, is going through renovations. We'll have a new flag change. It'll be the first autograph in the area. Wow. So there are, this market doesn't lack the product or the reinvention. I feel like it is, it will see the light. I definitely see the light. It's just a slow and steady pace that we have to take it.
And it's about trying to find new sources of business. We're going to get to in 1 second. But first, I do want to say, Mike McManus says, Supermodels and Glenn, what a week. Mike, they were gone within an hour of me getting here. And yes, I'm taking that personally. I figure it's got to be me. So, all right. So, Sean, what has your story been like in the early days? What happened to your business? Where you're at right now? And then it'd be great to start for us to talk about getting that leisure business and finding new avenues to connect with them. So, Sean, give us a quick update.
For our hotel, 130 rooms annually would run between 85 and 90% each year. Very fortunate with a great location right in the heart of downtown White Plains, very walkable, very beautiful hotel. When that first month hit in April and we ran 8% occupancy, it was a real punch to the gut, right? But as I said earlier, we were able to stay open. And as hard as it is sometimes to look at that when you're doing multiple jobs, we're the fortunate ones. We get to tell the story of how we were able to stay open. Then May came, right? May got up to 15%. And we continually grow month by month. And it hasn't been easy, but we're partnering with the Westchester County, right? Natasha and her team, the county exec, George Latimer, they care about our businesses. They care about hospitality and tourism. So the partnerships that we've formed and we've grew have been absolutely amazing. As far as hotel life, a lot of us, we have never worked this hard for as little revenue as we've seen. My boss, Rico DeRicio at Meyer Jabara Hotel, says that quite often. We are cranking hours out, but the goal is to get through this, right? Stay open and to do everything in a safe manner so that we encourage travel to come back to our area. And that's the whole point of today. It's to really show everybody we're willing to come here. The hoteliers in Westchester County are willing to come here and put on an event and do it in a safe manner. We want you guys to come back as well, too.
Sean, it's great that you're living here, but there's also got to be an added physical and psychological toll that this whole thing has taken. It's hurt me psychologically, emotionally. It's hurt my family. It's hurt every single human being I know. It's been a very profound crisis. How are you working to keep sane while never leaving the work environment, while also working harder than you ever had in your life? Because this is not just a marathon for you. It seems like it's more like a double Ironman.
Well, funny you should say that. I'm actually signed up for an Ironman competition on November 7th in Panama City Beach, Florida. 2.5 mile swim, 112-mile bike, and then a full marathon. So,
holy crap.
I've been training since March, and the only thing that there really was to do is work, especially when you're living at the hotel, and bike ride and swim. So I have a friend who has a lake out in Westchester County I'm able to swim in on a weekly basis. And I've been training for this event. And it's been a great escape for me to focus on something besides the insanity of working at a hotel during a pandemic. So for me, I was able to focus my energy on being fit and being active. Last week on Saturday, I participated in Bike to the Beach, which is a charity that supports autism awareness. And we had about 1,000 people that rode their bikes from Manhattan out to the Hamptons on Long Island. It was a great event. I didn't feel very great after the event, after riding 100 miles on a bike, but it's distractions like that we need, right? So instead of feeling sorry for ourselves, we were able to, find something to be productive and to really stay active and fit. So November 7th, Panama City Beach, Ironman, Florida. I'm getting ready for it.
That's excellent, and it'll be great because now that state is fully open, I think you're going to get to experience a freedom that none of us have seen in a while. And when I was in Phoenix last week, it was a little bit more looser and casual with the stringencies that we have here in New York, so it felt somewhat normal-ish. So, Natasha, what are you doing here to help people feel normal enough that they want to go out and spend money in these local communities and stay in hotels here?
No, and I think that's a great question because that's difficult to do with what's happening in the news and outside. Right. So we've been very consistent and from the very beginning about just sharing the images of the open spaces. Westchester County has the pleasure of enjoying miles and miles of hike and bike trails along that residents and visitors can come and enjoy. We're surrounded by the Hudson River, the Long Island Sound. So by putting those messages out that it's comfortable, there's socially distance opportunities to enjoy, and also really getting our residents out. We want to go out and feel that norm again, and that norm, what make that familiar spot in my neighborhood. And I think it's slow steps that will help the travel and tourism industry really, and getting out and spreading that word of mouth after these positive experiences within what we know and feel very familiar with us. And that's been that's a little bit different that from a tourism destination agency where you're always really more marketing outside to non-residents, but working with our restaurants on the curbside delivery. Sean, we did a great program, 10 for 10, right from the start, where it was, 10 overnights for 10 of our healthcare, facilities and our hospitals, and making sure that we were being responsive to the pandemic, because that's what we do. We're in the hospitality industry.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that, restaurants and bars are really doing to help people get through and to really maximize any opportunity that they might come across?
We've seen throughout all of Westchester County some great new experiments or innovative outdoor dining where, Scarsdale, Mamaroneck, Peekskill, the doors are open, some cross promotions with our retailers and our restaurants, some different hours to make sure that space and that availability is there. Our chefs have gotten together and supported and done food hunger reliefs in local communities as well. So I think, like we've all said, it's a lot of work and it's hard work, and it's very consistent to get us through the pandemic of what we're experiencing here.
Yeah. Sean, how about you?
Yeah, so the first phase that we had, I like to call it the haircut phase, where everybody was looking at each other. Did you get a haircut? Did he get a haircut? Where did he get a haircut? I live in Connecticut. I got a haircut in Connecticut. Wait, are you sure? So you had the haircut phase, where everybody's hair was long, and then somebody got their haircut, and it was like, how did that person get their haircut? I remember seeing the county executive, George Latimer, with his fresh cut the one day, and that made you feel better. It's like, wow, we can actually go and get our haircuts professionally done. I feel horrible for the people that did their own. You could really tell when somebody cut their own hair. Now we're in like the first day of school phase, right? And we're in September, so it kind of makes sense. But on that first day of school, you were a little nervous. Where's my seat going to be? Am I going to know these people? When you come to these restaurants and hotels, it's kind of that same feeling. You get butterflies in your stomach a little bit. What's the experience going to be like? And it's up to us, the hotels and the restaurants. You go down Mamaroneck Avenue in White Plains, you see what the Brazen Fox and Lily's and Hudson Social are doing in the, the back area of their restaurants, where they have tents set up and the tables and everything's outside. We've risen to the challenge together. And I can't wait to get past the back to school phase, and we'll find out what's next.
Yeah, we sure do. All right, Natasha, I'd love for you to respond to what he has to say, but I do want to tell everybody listening, I see those great questions. I promise we're going to get to them just any second. Natasha?
No, I think a lot of what we've been talking about is important, and I'll just say from where I sit, from supporting our hoteliers and our restaurants, it's the messaging out there. And Westchester Tourism in February had announced and launched our new Beyond campaign. And it's all, Westchester County beyond your expectations, and these big vistas and anchor images. So we're building out some new itineraries, curated car rides, curated experiences that you can enjoy by yourself or with your own small group here in the county. It's all on visitwestchesterny.com. And we have a very active Instagram. We do Sunday strolls and some social spots of where to take in your best Insta photos throughout Westchester County. So it's that consistency and hearing back. It's been very positive feedback through social media and through all of our newsletters that, we want that information because when we're ready, we're going to, go out there and make that visit.
So one question coming through is, what type of leisure guests are you getting now, and how are you reaching out to target those travelers? Because one of the issues that we talk about very frequently on the show is trying to find those new sources of business. Don't think just because one type of your business went away, that means you can't get any business whatsoever. People need to be creative. People need to think differently. How are you doing it?
That is such a great question, where the majority of our visitors here in Westchester County are the business traveler.
Right.
And which is unfortunately non-existent as well. So really being targeted within that 90-mile radius for us in, beyond, right beyond your back door and your backyard, and having Westchester for a day trip. We are close proximity to New York City. Our interstate, just our location makes that a very viable spot. And as things were phasing opening, putting that information out, the right information out, so we can avoid that frustration of doing that has been how we've been handling it. But Glenn, I will say it's been all organic.
Right.
We have not honestly, our budget was cut, like many other CVBs and DMOs.
Nothing to be ashamed of with that. We're all trying to do more with less.
So it's the content.
Really healthy.
Yeah, it's all content. It's just developing new content out there, and I keep saying slow and steady because even my team, they're like, we know, because I feel if you're successful in that slow and steady and managing it and being responsive to it, that will lead, to a lot more visibility for us.
Right. That's really important, is to create those senses of visibility. I saw something that made me really sad driving up here this morning. I saw leaves changing colors.
I know.
Right. Normally, I get really depressed when that's happening. And all right, I'm a little depressed that the days are getting shorter. And my kids and I talk about, I can't believe it's dark and it's 7 o'clock, that kind of thing every day. But that sounds like an opportunity,
It is. I mean,
up in some of those other states up there that are used to this. Here in Westchester County, you've got a chance. Are you trying to leverage this change of seasons right now to get leisure travel?
Well, fall is our most popular season here in Westchester County. We are the home to the legend of Sleepy Hollow. We have our popular, the Great Jack-o'-lantern Blaze, that is over, thousands of hand-carved pumpkins by artists, which is like a public exhibition and time ticketed, reservations. All of our farmers markets also open by reservations. We have our farms are available by reservations and appointments, but we have apple picking. So it is here to experience and take advantage of it. It will just be a little bit different.
Wow. So I think that's amazing that you could still do the pumpkin thing, because we have one of those on Long Island and I have not seen any ads for it this year, and I'm usually by now I've gotten 10,000 ads begging me to buy it, so I guess that they're not doing it. So congratulations to you guys for doing that. I think I know where I'm gonna bring my kids sometime.
You have to come to Westchester County. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Sean, how are you thinking differently? Because I would think that you have a base of business prior to this. It was strictly that business traveler.
There is still travel out there. There's group travel to be found. We work 10 times as hard for the smallest of leave these days, but there is still business out there. And the leisure market is still strong, right? Now that school's back in session, we've seen a little bit of a decline from the leisure market, but we just had the U.S. Open golf tournament here in Wingfoot. And while it wasn't a countywide sellout, it was a really nice uptick in occupancy. The hotels responded nicely. And we're trying different things to attract different types of customers now.
I like what you're saying. Try different things. That's what's really essential. And don't get so concerned if something isn't going to be a home run. Even if it's a single, at least you got up to bat and you're in the game here right now. I don't know what's with the sports analogies all of a sudden coming from me, but I think that that's really essential. Try new things. Don't be ashamed about trying new things if they fail. I talk about all the time, guys, that, we've hit this great reset button right now. It's an opportunity to do new things without judgment. So, Sean, you're working within a mechanism. You've got a big management company behind you, 40 hotels, so and so. How are you exchanging information, not just with hotels in your jurisdiction, where you're president of the Westchester Hotel Association, but other hotels within the Maya Jabara family? I'm curious if you're learning anything from each other.
Yeah, we certainly are. And that, in the early days of this, we really depended on Maya Jabara hotels and the other hotels in our area, right? Westchester County was kind of ground zero for, the start of the pandemic here. So a lot of hotels in our management company were reaching out to us to find out what our best practices were. Just yesterday, I had one of our hotels down in Baltimore reach out to have questions about breakfast and how to do it in a safe, how to reintroduce breakfast back to the customer. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to have that support network. And it's also important to realize that we don't know everything, right? Even the experts don't know everything. So what we need to do is make sure we communicate with each other and be able to pick up that phone or send that text message when you have a question about something to make sure you're doing the right thing and doing it in a safe manner.
That's right. And I encourage everyone, if you missed yesterday's show where we had on Chip Rogers, the American Hotel and Lodging Association's president and CEO, we talked just about that very specific issue. We didn't know certain things then. We know different things now, and 6 months from now, we're going to know a whole lot of other things. So don't get caught up in what you were thinking or what you were doing back then, because the rules of the game are constantly changing under your feet, and you have to be flexible. So thinking of that flexibility, Natasha, how are you starting to think about your approach now going forward? Because we kind of understand what the rules are going to be. We've gone through the major crisis and the gut reactions on how to respond to it. Now we understand what the reality is and have some barriers with which we can create new things. So what do you see going forward?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, one is also, I think, a contingency. I would hate, how would we manage that and pivot right away if the unfortunate, happens that there's another big surge. So planning and working with our partners, like the Hotel Association, is one way. But, I say for Westchester Tourism and Film, it's what's going to the next 6 to 18 months, and how are we going to create and build the tools? I mentioned things like virtual tours. To us, we're a sales extension of our members, our tourism partners, sales and marketing. That to me is an essential tool that we can use and build out and start talking and showing images so that Westchester's top of mind. We launched our Westchester with Care program. Important, not one shot. This is a longevity. We are now committed. COVID will be here and living under this landscape for a while. So that consistency and that messaging will be important with all of our participants with Westchester with Care. We're also developing B2B backend help for our hotels and the small businesses that make up the travel and tourism industry. And we're going to be launching a Google Business Academy online and resource and helping for search optimizations from the small restaurant to the big restaurant to the hoteliers, and partnering with third-party vendors as well, from reservations and conversion. So getting that, to me, is setting the foundation for us to go out and sell and market and welcome and invite, more business coming into this county.
Right. That's really essential. Producer Dave gave me a note about touching on events at Westchester County Center. There's stuff happening at Westchester County Center?
Currently, the county center is a hospital, so we have not open. We're hopefully in 2021 we will see that new listings of events that take place.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense to me right there. All right. Let's see about going to some of these other questions. As CEO of meeting planner, trying to book meetings and coordinate existing meetings, we're having a hard time to even reach sales and conference staff. Not suggesting that that's the problem here at this particular hotel, Sean, but it is an issue that we're seeing industry-wide because so many people were laid off and it's left gaps in that system, which is tough because you're trying to keep the hotel solvent, but you also need to get to build business. So maybe you could speak to how you've been coping with that particular issue and what some of the other hotels in the association have been faced with.
Sure. So, we went down from a staff of 50 to a staff of 5 when this first started.
Right.
And, it was all hands on deck doing everything that we could do. And then as things got better, we were able to start bringing back some of our teams. And, I feel your pain when you don't get that, telephone call back or you don't get that email back. But be patient, right? A lot of empathy has been given to the people that work in these hotels, but we've also given a lot to our guests as well, too. We need to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. But we know here at Marjabara Hotels and Cambria Hotels downtown White Plains, it's still important to make those phone calls back and to email people back because every piece of business that comes our way is so incredibly important. It helps pay another person's payroll for the week, or it helps, pay that extra bill. So have patience if you can. Thank you.
Yeah, I love your attitude, Sean. It's all of, I haven't heard about one comment about trying to make, ownership buckets of money. You're talking about bringing people back to work, really helping to get our economy going again. And that's why it's so essential for all of you out there who haven't yet traveled. Get in the car, go see something, go do something and figure it out. So, Natasha.
Glenn, I'm sorry. I just wanted to take the opportunity.
I was going to ask you a question anyway. So
no, that was a great question that was set up. And because I believe in DMOs and CVBs. Contact that local tourism promotion agency, destination marketing organization, or your convention and visitors bureau. Here, Westchester Tourism, we work with all of our partners throughout the state, and other places, so that when those cancellations were happening, or postponements, are there other areas, and how can we keep the business? So I got to put the plug in for my peers and my colleagues, because that's what we're here for.
You certainly did, and you did that masterfully. So the question that I was going to ask you comes from Michael Weinberg. What advice do you have for DMOs and hotels and other markets that don't have the low positivity rate that New York State has? And I do believe our numbers are starting to creep back up at this time. But considering they have been, we went lower first, what advice do you have for others that may not be there yet? Natasha?
Oh, sure.
And then Sean.
Okay. I think that from a DMO standpoint, we did go from a regional. We worked with our Hudson Valley Tourism for Hudson Valley Tourism, and getting the message out there that when the time's right, we're here for you, and putting out in a very positive way. But again, a Westchester with Care program or initiative is a good example of being prepared either way, and being consistent in that top of mind. I think from, again, I had mentioned we have a small budget, but being available is key and builds stronger partnerships, and especially during a time like that. To Sean said, we may not have all the answers, but we can talk through it and make sure that connection is there.
That's right. Sean?
It's a team effort, and in Westchester County, it's the county executive's office, it's the tourism and travel office, it's the hospitality association, all working together to ensure that we're keeping each other safe, right? And believe me, we know back in March and April, we were not the destination to travel to. So there are going to be peaks and valleys, and we don't know what the future brings. But when it is time for people to start traveling to your area, be ready. Make sure you have the proper protocols in place. Make sure your staff is trained. The time to train your staff is prior to their first day coming back to work. It makes them feel better, right? And it gives them confidence when they're coming back. And I've seen some comments on the side. Every person we bring back is a celebration. When we brought our first sales person back to our property, we can't have parties anymore, but it was like a party-like atmosphere. We're just so excited for each and every person to come back to work with us.
That's awesome. And I feel like today and the event that we're having here together is going to be a massive celebration for everybody. So I can't wait for that. Is this your first in-person meeting that you guys are doing here for the association? Yes?
Yes.
It is. Our last one was in January or February. We did it at the Terry Townhouse Estate, and this is our annual event. So this is the first in-person hotel association meeting that we're having.
Wow, that's so super exciting. So, Natasha, what are you thinking about when it comes to 2021? How are you going to move forward?
It can't come fast enough.
Yeah, this is why.
I couldn't resist.
No, it's great. That's why I'm psyched. I was saying this the other day, being a Jewish guy. Now we had just New Year's last week, so hey, I'm done with all crap of 2020, or I should say 5780, because we're living large here in 5781. So please, let me ask you another question then, Natasha. Film. You've had so many great films made here, and that's in your title. How is that changing right now? My guess is it's starting to come back, especially exterior stuff.
It is, and interior. It's just a different setup. And I will say the connection tourism and film, one of our properties, the Westchester Marriott, has just gained qualification as a production facility. So again, every crisis, I always say, has what's the opportunity or the newness and being innovative, and the business is out there, but how do we, so from our perspective, making that connection, because they can qualify their bigger ballroom space is now a qualified production facility. As film, there's an uptick in filming. And it's nowhere near where we were, both for travel and tourism. In February, we were at the highest. Travel and tourism is a $2 billion industry for Westchester County of economic impact. For filming throughout, it's conservatively anywhere from 30 to 35 million of new money that goes into the county from filming into our different municipalities. So it's happening. there's just a lot more work. I don't know if the creative folks on the industry like it, because once you have your script and you get your location, there's not a lot of, room for making those changes. But it's certainly, and that is another, example of new business that'll come into our hoteliers.
Right. And I want to, again, talk about how important this is, in particular to New York State. I just got some breaking news that was sent to my email address just before we went on air. And it says, according to Lattice Publishing, they did an analysis that found that in New York State, 8% of all workers are members of the accommodation and food services industry, which relies heavily on tourism. Share of, so total accommodation food service workers, 781,000 in New York State. And there's 9.7 million workers in the entire state. Overall, unemployment is 15.1% for the state. So it's pretty serious. So, again, we already know how many people have been laid off. We already know how many hotels are in danger, and that 24% didn't pay mortgage payments last month. And again, check out yesterday's show to learn more about that stuff. So please get out there, do what you can to support tourism, because when you support tourism, that supports the overall economy. I'm sure you guys are going out with that type of messaging as well.
Absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, for travel and tourism, it's a $2 billion industry here for the local economy of Westchester County. It employs 24,000 jobs. So it has a huge impact. It is an economic driver. And what we are seeing from a travel and tourism perspective, and in my experience, is that connection of the importance of travel and tourism, the jobs, and that connection also with economic development within certain regions and the partnerships that Sean had said. We are fortunate that our county executive, my boss, George Latimer, is from the industry, has worked in the hotel industry, and understands that and can comprehend, what the amount of work that needs to get done to move us forward.
Thank goodness, because it seems that a lot of politicians out there are completely clueless about how important tourism and hospitality is to the overall national economy. That's why we're going to continue to have on those great people to share that. Natasha?
Well, I was just going to say, if you have a vibrant travel and tourism industry, you have a quality of life. It's all interconnected. We have examples and, anecdotal where I've had folks come in and done a show, a film project, and then I'm moving to Westchester County. Who knew the diversity of the four corners of Westchester County, that close proximity? So seeing destinations in the backdrop is important. The number of jobs and that economic development that tourism brings and drives is very important. And this unfortunate situation is bringing that conversation, I feel, more to light with partners like the Westchester Hotel Association, the New York State Hospitality Tourism Industry, U.S. Travel, and Destination International. And I think that's an important message to keep.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And I love that last scroll there. I wonder where that factoid came from, producer David. All right, so one question before we start to wrap up, because we've got to get to this event. Mike McManus says, have you seen an increase in memberships in either of the associations recently? Are you extending memberships? How are you handling that?
Yep. So for the Hotel Association, we have extended everybody's membership for this year. And believe it or not, we've opened 2 hotels in Westchester County during the pandemic. Spring Hill Suites Tuckahoe, Spring Hill Suites by Marriott Tuckahoe, and the Abbey Inn in Peekskill. So we have 2 additional hotels to join the Hotel Association this year. And you think, what a time to open up a hotel, but indeed they are open and our association is expanding.
That's awesome. Natasha?
For tourism, we're completely funded by our hotels. So we work with all of the various partners, industries, restaurants, retail shops, chambers of commerce throughout Westchester County to help promote them. So if anything, we've enhanced our efforts in bringing in those folks to the table.
All right, my last question for each of you before we go into some final thoughts. I am blessed. I was recently appointed to the Long Island Hospitality Association board. Any suggestions and tips for me how to not be a fool when I'm there?
You can take that one, Natasha.
I guess Sean thinks I'm hopeless.
You know what? I just, I'm the recent past chair of the New York State Tourism Industry Association, and we had a we still do a very active board. And I always try to just read the agenda and be prepared for every board meeting. That's what my advice to you.
All right. That does not go well with the way I do things. All right, Sean.
Yeah, you just don't know when you meet somebody the value of that partnership is going to be. It might not have value at the current time, but down the road, especially in a pandemic like this, you reach out to people, just for certain things that you never thought you'd have a conversation with. So everybody has value, and just make sure you find that value in that person.
I think you're right, and I'll add to that. Just put as much positive energy out into the universe. Try to be kind to each other, to be helpful. Doesn't matter if they're going to help you directly back, because it will all come back to you. My wife used to give me so much grief for going to all these cocktail parties all these years. She goes, "What do you get out of that?" I'm like, it doesn't matter what I get out of it today. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that is where it's all going to come together. So get out there, work harder than ever. Try to fit in some time to do some training so you could run and do an Ironman and all of that kind of good stuff. Sean, how about a final word from you, sir?
Thanks again for having us on today. We're really excited about this event. And for some of the markets that, aren't trending in the upward direction, your time will come. Stay focused, look for all opportunities that are out there. Support your team, support your other hotels, and we're going to make it through together. We're in the business of hospitality, and that means, we depend on each other, and we need people to be important here. So thank you very much for having us on today. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Natasha?
Thank you for having us on. I think it's really important to talk and connect. And like Sean said, well said, really, it's just keeping connected within the industry and supporting the travel and tourism. And we will get through this through partnership and collaboration. We're resilient.
Excellent, man. I love the positive energy you have. And I know it's going to flow over into this great event we're going to next. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to wrap up the show, and then I'm going to see you in person, albeit I may look a little different with my mask on over here. But we'll see. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Wow, what a great show that was. I know you're tired of me saying that every single day, but I got to be honest with you. It was another great show. I had such a good time telling these people. Oh, Dave, you can tell me it wasn't a great show? What's going on?
That's because Westchester is the best Chester.
All right. I guess that's a great place to leave it. Listen, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go to No Vacancy News. Do that. Also, check out novacancynews.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on LinkedIn. You know all of this kind of stuff. Today, I'm going to make another plea to you. Tell a friend. Share it with a family member. Help spread the word that we're continuing to grow this community. We couldn't be here without you. Thank you so much for all the support you give. I got to tell you, I'm excited. I get to speak in front of a group of people in real life today instead of talking to people through a computer screen. I'm really super excited about it. Thank you to the associations for having me here today. And thank you guys for watching every single day. Have an incredible afternoon. And we will see you tomorrow when Anthony returns triumphantly in Las Vegas. That is, unless you get stuck at a poker table and we never see him again. But either way, enjoy your life. Remember, you got one life, so blaze on. And as Anthony would say,